It's the day after the Lance Lynn news, and Cubs Twitter went absolutely bananas. We got to take a look at this. Welcome into the Setup Man. It is me, Kyle Stanley, and we appreciate you being here. If you've been listening for the entire year and a half that we have been on YouTube and on a podcast, thank you so much for being a loyal listener. If you just found out about us, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you check out all of our stuff. Setupman.net is the place to see everything. We've got blogs, we got the YouTube channel, we got the podcast. You can subscribe to our newsletter. You can have a lot of fun with us. You can engage with us, especially on our Facebook page, which you can also find in the description below. And we're going to have fun today. This is going to be a really good one. For me, this is a fun episode because I get to involve a lot of the guys on the Setup Man crew, and we're going to pause and talk about that for just a second. But before we do, the rundown is essentially today we're going to be talking a lot about the Lance Lynn reactions from Cubs Nation, and we're going to bring up some stats. We're going to show you the details of all this because here, as fans, we're emotional people, right? We think about when you hear a name, you think about all the things emotionally that you're tied to. A lot of Cubs fans are tied to Lance Lynn as a Dodger, as a White Sox, and as a Cardinal, which brings up a lot of negative emotions. And also, you think about the 4 home runs he gave up in one inning against the Diamondbacks, I think it was in 2023, and you just think, oh my gosh, this guy's terrible. So we're going to take a 5,000-foot overview and zoom in into like a 500-foot overview of what exactly this looks like. And then we're going to talk about Japan. The Cubs are having a lot of fun over there. What is the schedule? What still needs to be figured out? And also some clips of just what has been all of the fun over there. But before we do, again, if you're brand new, this might be a little too much information for you. But if you've been here a while, I want to just stop and pause for a second because the season is about to begin. And you have probably been noticing on the Setup Man channel that we have had new faces, that we've had new content, that we've been doing a lot of new things. And I realize that can be a lot for what you guys have come to know of me here at the Setup Man, of it being just me. So with everything that's about to happen this season, I think it's important for you to know exactly where we're going as a channel and how that fits into what you want from your Cubs content. And basically, right when the season was about to end in 2024, I kind of said, I need to take this thing to the next level. This has been fun. We're doing a good job here, at least by all accounts from what I can see, what people are liking, what you guys have been showing that you like, the breakdowns, the interviews, all that. But I wanted to do something bigger. I wanted this to be a channel that you can come to and say, I know I'm going to get the most fun, the most value, the most entertainment, the most information, the most everything. And the conclusion I came to is I'm only one person and I can't do all of that on my own. So I put a call out to basically Cubs Nation and said, hey, who wants to kind of lock arms with me and go along with me on this journey? And found some amazing guys, an amazing group of dudes that some of you have already seen their faces, but they all bring their own individual value to this team. And there's going to be a transition for you as an audience member, as a viewer, if you've been with us for a while, where you just say like, hey, this is some new faces. This is some new people. I'm not quite used to this. And that I'm just going to ask you to buckle in and just be okay with a little bit of a transition here, because at the end of the day, what we want is, like I said, to provide the most entertainment, the most value, the most engagement is the other thing. We want to engage with you guys, the fan. And 2025, our goal as now not just channel, I'm calling us a network. It's the Setup Man Network. As a network, we want to not only provide you with the value and the entertainment, but we want you to engage with us. We want you to tell us what you want to see more of. We want you to actually be, with your voice and face, part of the Setup Man. As you have seen, probably, maybe some of you have been in our Facebook group, maybe you haven't, but our Facebook group, we've been doing a lot of engagement with fans where they can come on, they can share their opinions on things. That's what our post-game shows are going to be like this year. So a couple things for you guys to be on the lookout for. Every Sunday through Wednesday during the season, we're going to be doing post-game shows where, yeah, we're going to react to the game. Yeah, we're going to talk about the preview of the next games. We're going to talk about what's going on with the Cubs right now. But we're also going to give you, the fans, a chance to jump on and talk about what you saw from the game. Rant about the things that you didn't like. Celebrate the things that you love. If you even just want to jump on and just hang out in the room, you're going to have a chance to do that. And that's important for us because we want you, the fan, to have a voice within everything that we're doing here at the Setup Man Network. So that's the first thing, is just be ready for a little bit of a transition, but know that the goal in the end is to provide you with the best fun, the best value, and the best way to engage about Cubs, the Chicago Cubs, for the entire 2025 season. So with that being said, and in the lines of new faces, I want to show you some of the faces from an episode last night, what we call the dugout, in our Facebook group. Again, that link is down below if you want to join our Facebook group, about Lance Lynn. Alex Brault and Brian Burns were on this show, and then we had a couple other Setup Men crew members jump in and give their opinions on some things. So we're going to start with Alex and Brian here. Alex, the head of the show, is discussing what Cubs Nation is thinking about this, and then Brian comes in with some really good stats and some really good perspective. Let's listen to them.
It doesn't seem like Cubs Nation's on board for this, so I'm just going to go right down the chute here, and we're going to see what Cubs Nation has to think. This one from Doc B, what the F, why? This one from Scott, rather have Trevor Bauer.
Oh, man, that's a hot take.
That is a hot take. Dean, this guy doesn't know when to give up. Sarah Sanchez, I honestly rarely seen the Cubs fan base more united than they're absolutely not to Lance Lynn. That probably is true. And then someone needs to tell Jed to lay off the sake. Who wants this?
He's known for giving up the home runs. He's older than dirt, which obviously the Cubs, that is their philosophy these days, older than dirt. But I just think Lance Lynn, there's a reason why he's still on the market. There is some hope if they were to sign that he could be used as a swingman, judging by his stats. If you look there, now first inning, that's kind of a wash for a lot of starting pitchers, but it's the second, third, and fourth. You can say, okay, Lance Lynn could be a guy, but that's it. He's not a guy after that.
They're just talking. Nothing's been agreed to. Nothing's been signed. If something breaks in the next hour, you will hear it from us. So he's fifth starter, and obviously pitching depth is king. And with Javier Assad already battling injuries, we don't know when he's coming back. So maybe that is a reason, but also they already have a lot of fifth starter depth type guys right now. We're talking Colin Ray, Jordan Wicks, Ben Brown. They already have a lot of guys like that, probably with higher upside as well. So I don't have an issue with Lance Lynn. And last year, he wasn't bad. He went in 23 games, went 7-4, a 3.84 ERA and 117 innings. This also makes me wonder if Assad, that injury is worse. And also, you want to hear something crazy? People watching that are against Lance Lynn. I looked up Javier Assad's numbers. They weren't that much better than Lance Lynn's last year. Lance Lynn ERA 3.84 last year. With Javier Assad last year, 3.73. In 29 games that Assad pitched, Lance Lynn went 23. So it's not like there was this giant gulf between the two. I really wasn't upset. I really don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. If it happens, all right. If it doesn't, fine, whatever.
All right, so let's react to a few things that they said here. First of all, I was in the same camp as probably you, as Brian, as a lot of Cubs fans, where as soon as I saw that tweet from Bob Nightingale, I was kind of like, really? What? And then I started looking at some of the stats, and I was like, wait, he was actually good last year. And then, you look at 2023. If you isolate and take out the White Sox part of 2023, because they were miserable in 23, and then you see what he did with the Dodgers, you're like, okay, he was serviceable with the Dodgers. And then the year before that, he was good. And then the year before that, in 2021, he was an absolute stud. And I'm going to show you some graphs on that in a second. But my initial thought was yuck. And then my next thought was, after looking at some of the stats, was, oh, okay, this isn't bad. So I think with the heart, I'm not stoked about it. With the head, I am absolutely on board for this because of exactly what Alex said, which is, well, it's depth. It's just another piece. And of course, if this major league deal is like $8 to $10 million, I'm not going to be happy about that. $3 to $5 million, you essentially pay the same amount as Colin Ray. Sure. Now, a lot of you are probably like, well, why wouldn't you just go get a $10, $15, $20 million pitcher instead of Colin Ray plus Lance Lynn and call it maybe one other guy? And that's a very valid point. But you can tell this offseason, Jed's goal was depth and improving the internal pitching structure. When you add Tyler Zombro, and you've already seen what he's done with Brad Keller, and Tyler Zombro and I texted, and he's like, Brad Keller is his trophy child. He's talking about him all the time. He loves him. He's developed him. He went from 94, 95 last year to now back up to 97, 98. That is a Tyler Zombro thing, guys. That is absolutely what Jed has developed is let's build depth. Let's bring in guys with a lot of potential that Zombro and Hottovy like, and let's let them do their thing. And then we can take a guy, pay him $3 million, $5 million, but make him look like a $10 million pitcher. So perspective is key on this. If depth gives you the chance to say we can go get 3 guys for half the price of a Walker Buehler, but turn him into the potential of what Walker Buehler's ceiling is here in 2025 with 2 of those 3 guys rather than just one, the risk is really low because you're not spending much money, but the reward is really high. And I'm not saying that Lance Lynn is necessarily that guy because he's 38, going on 38 years old, and he's probably reached his peak. But here's the thing, and I'm going to show you this graph now. These are the pictures of Lance Lynn 2021, according to Baseball Savant, 2021 versus 2024. You can see it went downhill very, very quickly. Is that an age thing? Or is that just maybe a mechanical thing that Lance Lynn needs to adjust, or a pitch selection thing that Lance Lynn needs to adjust as he gets older in age? This is a bulldog, right? Lance Lynn is a competitor, as we all know, that maybe the head is a little too strong and he needs to make some adjustments, and maybe Tyler Zombro and crew can help him make those adjustments. Now, he did have a decent, from a number standpoint, 2024 season. The blue from Baseball Savant here scares me a lot. For those of you that are listening on the podcast, lots and lots of red. We like to see lots and lots of red on Baseball Savant in 2021. Let me just go down a few of them. Starting with exit velocity from 74 down to 47. K percentage from 77 in 21 down to 36. Walks went up a pretty decent amount from the 70th percentile in 21 now to the 40th percentile. Barrel rate went from 81st percentile down to 7. Wow. And then hard hit rate from 69th percentile down to 44th percentile. So you don't like that trend, but again, I am now in the camp of why not? Now, one extreme caveat, and the answer to the why not is, well, it removes reps from Ben Brown. It removes reps from some of the guys with a higher ceiling, maybe a Jordan Wicks. I 100% agree with that. But again, I truly believe, and I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face because I'm like 90% sure of this. Jed and Co. see the Cubs as having 3 top-of-the-line starters, Justin Steele, Shota Imanaga, Jameson Taillon, and then a 4 through 6 that is going to have to take up the rest of those, call it 70-plus starts. Not a 1 through 5 rotation, a 1 through 3, along with numbers 4 to 6 guys who are going to be a rotating wheel. You're going to see Matt Boyd make 20 starts. You're going to see Javier Assad make 15 starts. You're going to see Ben Brown make 15 starts. You're going to see Lance Lynn make 15 starts. All that combining together, maybe 5 guys make up this 4 through 6 in the rotation that equals out to be that total of 162 starts. I truly, truly believe that is what they are looking at. And if you look at it that way, it gives you different perspective. It's not a number 5 starter in Lance Lynn. It's another guy that you plug into this carousel of number 4 through 6 starters. Now, will it always be 6 starters? No. In April, they're going to take every single Thursday off. You probably will only see 5 starters in April, maybe a 6th every once in a while. In May, in June, as you get into the dog days of summer and guys' arms are starting to get a little bit tired, yeah, they extend it out to maybe 6, and now you only see, Justin Steele, instead of making 5 starts per month, making 4 starts per month. That I really, truly believe this is what the Cubs are trying to do, and it's probably because of what they see in terms of injuries. It's what they see in terms of where the trends are going. And you keep on hearing Carter and Jed talk about it. We got to find a way to plug in 1,400 innings, which is essentially 162 games. We got to find a way to plug in 1,400 innings. And how are we going to get to that 1,400 innings? It's a lot different mindset than back in 2016 when the Cubs won the World Series with 5 starters and hardly ever had to go outside of those 5 starters. Now, one last thing, as our good friend and also crew member of the Setup Man family, Ty Lewin says, maybe it's just about timing.
Lance Lynn is a competitor, and I do not care if his fastball or his slider, whatever that pitch is that gets lit up. I think that you're talking about a guy that your uncle said it earlier, eats innings, but comes with a little bit of a swagger. And I like that. I like that addition. I like the fact that we kind of have a little bit of that, like, don't mess with me type of thing on the bump. And that may go, that may work for the other guys. And finally, guys, I always say this, really deep down, do we always know the true reason why guys are brought in? And I think it's just that it's really interesting that they signed him right before the Japanese trip. And
well, he's not signed yet. He's not signed.
No, I understand that, but
yeah.
let's play it like he is signing. Why now are we having a concern about a particular player in the rotation right now that has, Colin Ray, Ben Brown, whatever it is, like right now is when we sign him. It's going to be interesting. So I personally like it. I am never mad when we get more guys in the rotation in depth. I'm never mad about that.
Yeah, I think those are incredible points by Ty. You never know what's going on. It was just 3 days ago that the Cubs said, Bob Nightingale said about the Cubs that they're looking for starting pitching depth and they're keeping an eye on Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn. You kind of raise an eyebrow. And then now that you kind of look at this and say, okay, now they're in negotiations. What if Javier Saad's injury is really that bad? What if they're not looking at Ben Brown as an actual 5th starter, but more of a swing man, and they need more of a 5th or 6th starter? What if Jordan Wicks is not the guy quite yet, and they want to give him more minor league innings? If you look at it that way, and if it's just a depth thing, and those are the conversations going on in the background, then, I mean, yeah, and the fact, again, of going back to what I said, if they look at it as, well, this is actually a 6th starter because we want Colin Ray, we want Ben Brown, we want Lance Lynn, we want all those guys pitching, that's the timing of all of it. I just thought was a really good point. Let's go ahead and move on to Japan now. I have been having a lot of fun. I don't know about you guys, been having a ton of fun watching on X, whether it's from Taylor McGregor or from Marquee or MLB. All of the Twitter accounts that are there are just having a lot of fun posting stuff. And I look at this and I say, first of all, I didn't realize, as you're starting to see some of the stuff on YouTube, if you're listening on the podcast, you're missing out on some of the fun stuff. Make sure you go check it out on our YouTube channel. I didn't realize there was going to be this many fans just watching workouts. Apparently 10,000 plus fans at workouts. This is according to Alex Cohen's X post, as you're seeing on your screen right now. This is pretty cool. Jim Deshay said it too, that it feels like postseason atmosphere. I think there's a lot of stuff that, just goes into that. It's the amount of people. It's a new atmosphere. It's the team camaraderie. At the end of the day, to me, this was supposed to be a team bonding experience. And that is all we have seen on X. I'm not going to play the comparison game, but I am going to tell you, I haven't seen much about the Dodgers and team bonding. But then again, my X algorithm probably is skewing that too. But that's all you see with the Cubs in everything that's been posted, whether it is Shota doing the sake barrel cracking or it's Seiya showing guys how far he hit a ball in the Tokyo Dome. It's all camaraderie stuff. And to me, I kind of think of it must be a really cool experience for Shota and for Seiya, because I think of it as like, I remember when I took my wife to my college campus in San Diego and showed her like, hey, that was my dorm. And this is where, we ate all of our meals. And this was where I went at sunset to, do my homework, and just like how much pride and how much excitement I had to show her. That has to be the same kind of feeling for Shota and Seiya right now. Like, hey, here's where I grew up. Here's when I went to church. Here's some of our traditions. And I don't know, that just like, to me, that takes two guys who have felt like they've had to assimilate to the Cubs, and now it's got to be a really cool feeling of like, hey guys, now I get to take that role of you assimilating to what I do or what I did. Got to be probably something that's not being talked about enough, and that's something that I guess underlying benefit of this entire trip might be for especially guys like Shota and Seiya. A couple of things about Japan. The first game will happen today on March 14th against the Hanshin Tigers at midnight Central Time. It is going to be on Marquee, but only the dedicated will watch in Chicago. It's 10 p.m. here where I'm at. I'm not even sure I'm going to stay up for it. Another game on Sunday against the Yamamuri Giants. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing either of those. That one will be on Sunday. The season starts against the Dodgers on Tuesday, and of course, back-to-back days, Tuesday and Wednesday. We will be doing watch-alongs here on the Setup Man YouTube channel. Make sure you join me and Sean Hendrickson. Speaking of which, Sean Hendrickson, who you've probably seen his face, you're going to see it again right now, he did some research on the Taxi Squad. This is really interesting. Take a listen.
You know, I found like the most important thing, like where it all started, was from the Pirates blog site that was posted 4 years ago. And that's where the whole idea of the Taxi Squad came from.
No kidding.
Like, that's where it came from when the COVID season started. It started with that 2020 year. They needed to have 5 players, and then it finally went down to like 3 players that had to go with every travel club. They could stay at the alternate site when they traveled for road games, and they could stay near home. They could obviously stay at their AAA site working out whenever they played home games because they're in proximity and whatnot. So, like, yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. That's kind of cool. That I guess they just adapted that rule for these over international games we've had the last 2 to 3 years. So
Who has the dedication to look at Pittsburgh Pirates blogs from 4 years ago? This is why he's the best at what he does.
it's a simple Google search after the 3rd page, though, guys.
After the 3rd page, guys, just
That's some deep
a little
Google.
asterisk after the 3rd page.
To Alex's point, Sean is a whiz at finding information that you didn't even know that you wanted to know. And he had a really cool thing the other day about the CBA that I didn't even know about. So it's just guys like this. You've seen Sean, Brian, Ty, Alex, all here on this episode, and this is a really good introduction, I think, for you guys to be able to get ready for these watch-alongs, get ready for the post-games, and get ready for new faces as we continue to develop into a network here at the Setup Man. Stay along for the ride. Let us know what we can do to improve. Let us know in the comments. Appreciate all of you watching, and continue to like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate you. Going to go put my arm on ice, Setup Nation.